Science to Jobs. Welcome to Newsmakers. I'm Lisa Oligas. In this edition, we explore new technology here on the MSSU campus called Anatomage tables. They were purchased with funds from a $2.3 million Science to Jobs grant. Joining us to tell us all about it are Dr. Sherry Whiteman, MSSU Professor of Health Science and Healthcare Administration, and Dr. Suzanne Hull, Director of the MOSO CAPS program, which stands for Center for Advanced Professional Studies. Thank you both for joining us today. Congratulations on what this state appropriation will be bringing to our students. That's exciting. So first off, Suzanne, give us a little bit of background about this grant and or state appropriation, as you like to call it.
Sure. So in 2023, the Missouri General Assembly, they approved this state appropriation, and Governor Parson signed it this past summer. We're really thankful to have this opportunity that this money is going to provide. We are Missouri Southern is the fiscal agent for the state appropriation, and we have memorandums of understanding that we are in a joint venture with MoBio, which is the Missouri Biotechnology Association in Jefferson City, and then also with Missouri Western State University. So they each get a little bit of the money.
So, Dr. Whiteman, you recently demonstrated these Anatomage tables. First off, let's tell people, what is Anatomage technology?
So Anatomage technology is a virtual cadaver. So it's on the same size as a regular cadaver table, but it's basically 2 television screens and a computer in a big rolling table. And we also have it on VR headsets as well as on the cloud. We can access these, and so it's a way for us to, access cadaver technology or views of cadavers without having to, move rooms or go to an actual cadaver lab.
So how does this expand our capabilities? I mean, we do have actual, which is rare for a university, an actual cadaver lab here at Missouri Southern. And that's a unique experience for those students who are in pre-med students wanting to become doctors. To have access to that is pretty amazing, those donations. But how does this expand those capabilities and, even like with simulations?
So I think it expands us on a numerous number of levels. So for example, if biology is using it, they have access to the real cadavers, but we know that all humans are not made the same. So in these virtual cadavers, we get to see some pretty standard anatomy. And then those students in biology can then go and compare that to maybe some abnormal anatomy that they're seeing in their real cadaver and do some comparisons to understand how things ought to be. So that's one example. If we talk about health science programs like nursing and respiratory, radiology, EMS, we love to take our students to the cadaver lab, and this technology will not replace that experience, but it gives us an opportunity to go even more. And so when we're talking about a disease process, we can pull up that heart, spin it around, and look at it in detail to understand the impacts that happen to the patient, You
even during the simulation, you can actually pretend you're doing surgery. You can make a cut. So if you did that on a real cadaver, then you'd have already made that cut. You couldn't go back. But you can do simulations over and over on these, correct?
Yes, exactly. One of my favorite ones is for us to go to the beating heart, because it will do some things in live time, and go to the beating heart and then dissect it, cut it in half, and let the students see the chambers working on the inside as that virtual heart beats. You can't do that with a cadaver. This table also comes with a library of thousands of other images, CAT scans, ultrasounds, x-rays, of all kinds of pathologies you may never see when you're learning things in school. And so we can pull up real images and learn about them as well. And so that just expands, the knowledge base for our students who are going to go out there and take care of people with these pathologies.
You bet. And you guys mentioned VR. You put those VR goggles on, you can really kind of get into the body. Tell us why that's kind of amazing and how that works, Suzanne.
Well, we last week or week before, when we did a presentation here on campus, we were using that technology, and so I got to experience going through the large and small intestine, and it's amazing because nobody gets to see inside of an organ, but to have that capability and for our students to have that deeper understanding and literally taking that deeper dive into the human body will provide them with so much more knowledge as they go through their coursework.
And positionally, I mean, Dr. Whiteman, when you're looking at a cadaver, you see it's two-dimensional, but when you go with the virtual reality goggles, you kind of go inside you as if you're in the body. I mean, there was an old movie once like that, but it's like, oh, this is really interesting. You can look around, oh, that's where the stomach is.
Yeah.
That's where the liver might be. How is that helpful maybe for a potential surgeon?
I feel like it's very Magic School Bus,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And so there are some fly-throughs, is what it's called on the technology, and you get to go first person through the heart and through the colon. And so to understand what that can feel like, even from a surgical perspective, okay, so now I recognize that while I've been learning something in 2D flat, it's actually round, and that's going to make me have to adjust the position of my hand or the position of that person's body to make the therapy work, things like that.
So, Susan, we purchased 3 of these tables. It's quite an investment, right?
It is.
What's the expense on something like this?
So we got extended warranties because there's nobody around here really that can work on one. And so with the extended warranty, which is 5 years, they're $100,000 a piece approximately. And when we started talking about one table, and then we started thinking about all the programs on campus that can have access to these programs. One thing we haven't talked about is our pre-vet students, because there are four animal cadavers on the table as well. And so pre-vet students can now have those same opportunities with an animal. But we just really decided, well, maybe we could get 2 tables. And then we settled on 3, and we're really thankful we did, because we have 2 right now in the Health Sciences building, and then we have 1 adjacent to the cadaver lab.
So who will be using these? You mentioned a few other departments, but tell us all the different departments that could benefit from this.
So I think it's important to mention that what we ended up purchasing was actually 3 different ways to access the technology. So there are 3 tables, 2 live in the Health Science building and 1 in biology, as Dr. Hull said. Then we have the virtual headsets, and there's 12 of those. So 12 students can put on a VR headset and work with the cadavers at the same time as students can go around the tables.
And it's like 8 people around the table at once?
Yes. And then on top of that, we have Table on Cloud, where I can log in on the computer and pull the table up on the cloud and lecture live in my classroom, doing all the same things without my students ever having to leave their seats. And that's important because it allows so many students to access the technology. Leading to your question, we're talking about anatomy and physiology classes and biology, both seated and online. Now, students who are taking online classes can see the same technology that the seated students get access to. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Kinesiology students, it has some functions in the table where you can watch arms and bones articulate and watch the muscles activate through those movements. So kinesiology could be a really big user of this. All of the health science programs, so nursing, respiratory, radiology, EMS, dental hygiene, even we've even been talking with forensic science and criminal justice, psychology. I've been talking with them about the brain and all of the options it has for them as well, plus the pre-veterinary, any of the pre-medical school students, any of them. And we haven't even identified everybody yet.
Right. It's pretty amazing, and it's pretty user-friendly.
Yes.
It seems like, I mean, it's kind of touchscreen, correct?
Yes, it is. And they even came with styluses, but yeah, it's very touchscreen, just like working your phone. So it's been a lot of fun to learn to zoom in on the cadaver, zoom out on the cadaver, rotate them around, and really get those perspectives that you may not get from a textbook.
Yeah. It's amazing technology. The grant, or the appropriations, it has also other options for reaching students. Tell us about some of the programming options that will let you kind of even go further into the community.
Absolutely. So, so the state appropriation was for allied health and agri-sciences, and so we are focusing on the allied health piece with the health sciences. So this summer, we are actually, some of the programming we're doing, we're going to have a middle school, grades 5 through 8, high school, grades 9 and 10, and then also a teacher externship programs on summer academies on campus. So these Science to Jobs summer academies, the middle school will be 2 days In June, the high school one will be 3 days. It's an overnight. They will stay on campus in the dorms event, and then the teacher externship will be at the end of July, 1st of August. And so these opportunities provided to the students will allow them to explore what we have to offer here on campus in the sciences, so the health sciences, biosciences, and forensic science. And then the same will apply to the teacher externship as well, with the last day for the high school students and the teachers, the science teachers, to be able to go out and see the industries that we have here in Joplin and how the sciences tie into them. The programs are available to our CAPS partner districts, and then other students from remote rural schools, so districts with a student population of 2,000 or less would also be able to apply for these programs.
It's super exciting. I'm sure for students, it certainly beats the book. Certainly beats the book. Now, I've always heard that anatomy and physiology, very difficult class, can be super difficult. How do you think this helps in the understanding of those, Dr. Whiteman?
Well, for one, it allows students, they're available anytime to say, I need to go in and really zoom in on this and look at this. And we would gladly take any student in there and say, okay, let's talk through some of these things. But I think in putting it in their hands and them being able to move it in a way that they understand rather than just looking at a flat image. You know, when you look at a flat image, you have the front and you have the back. And you can't understand then how maybe that vein wraps around and connects to other vessels or anything like that. So I really just think it brings it to life in a way that they can manipulate it. And it's that tactile feeling that tends to work so well for so many students. And so we are offering that now through the technology.
It's really exciting. And you can see it operating. I mean, you can see muscles or the heart beating.
Yes.
I know one of the settings was you could change the rhythm of the heart.
Yeah.
So that it might be someone who might be having a heart attack. How is that helpful if they can see, oh, this is what it looks like when somebody's in distress?
Yeah. You know, we can talk about squiggly lines on a piece of paper all day, and that's really what an EKG is, right? It's a squiggly line. And so for them to be able to understand and see what the heart is actually doing, then they can really grasp like, oh, that's why the heart isn't feeling. That's why they're going to need CPR very soon, because this piece and this piece aren't connecting. You know, a squiggly line doesn't always tell you that from a micro level. So they really can just actually see why the heart isn't filling and why that's dangerous, instead of just saying, this is bad, this is what we do.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we're going to take a break, and we're going to be joined by a MOSO CAP student when we return. But first, we wanted to see the tables in action, so we checked out a class and talked to students about the technology.
The 4 quadrants.
Yeah. So what you're telling me is I need to study.
Yes. Yes. Because you need to know what organs are where in reference to your quadrants and your regions. Okay. I'm not going to specifically ask you that, but you should be familiar enough to know that if I'm going to this region, I'm not going to see the stomach.
Hannah Aldridge introduces her medical terminology class to the Anatomage table, where they can study every quadrant, region, organ, muscle, and more of the body. The three-dimensional virtual images of a real cadaver allows them to see up close what they learn about in class.
I do believe being able to sit in the classroom and get everything thrown at us lecture-wise, and then being able to come in here and apply it to a body, I think that'll be really cool, because it's not something that you can typically do in a terminology class.
It's just nice to have a visual, because we talk a lot about the muscles, a lot about different organs, so we see a lot on pictures, but being able to see it up close and seeing all the muscles labeled is really nice, just because it helps us apply to what we've learned. We had a cadaver lab over for some other classes, but being able to see it here, it's really different just because it seems more alive. It seems more like it has a natural look, like there's still blood flow through it. So just being able to see that is really cool.
Kinesiology major Samuel Weinsberg says that's a realistic view of muscle. He says the Anatomage table will be a big help because he's a visual learner.
Have it dark. Yeah, you can see.
Just have the muscles stretched with it.
Yeah, and you can see all of that.
An arm or leg can be put in motion to see muscles in action. He examined a knee.
You can go like that and make it go faster, and then you can see it all moving.
That's cool, especially the highlighted part.
Yeah.
tells you which muscles activated.
Samuel and Emily believe it could be a great study tool.
Absolutely, especially with it has an arrow that points to it, so this is also a nice way we can study. We can go over, review things, and then later on we can reveal what the answer might be, and it'll help us learn what we have wrong and what we have right.
100%. Being able to see it and then we get to color coordinate it, like that's going to make a whole lot of a difference. Just all the visuals, like I'm a very visual person, so being able to see it and like apply everything, and then we do get to put the labels on here too, so we get to see like where the sigmoid colon is. That'll be really helpful.
I mean, you can even do okay, now you can see the labels and then take them away.
Yeah, and like kind of test yourself with matching.
Just want eyes?
Yeah.
Just the eyes.
Just the eyes.
The most exciting thing for me was just, my side, we went through the eyeball and just cut it in half, got to see in that. So I think just being able to see inside how the organs work was really cool.
So what are some terms that come with our digestive system?
The touchscreen system is technology the students easily understand, so they can explore.
I think once you get to know all the buttons and what they do, it's really easy to use.
No, I love technology, so just a couple of the different buttons that are there. It was just interesting, like especially the cardiac rhythm, like how you get to see the heart beating. It's just really interesting.
There's the ascending aorta.
Administrators and staff saw the inside of the heart during a MOSO Connect.
The right atrium. So these are just veins, right? Okay.
Yeah, so you've got your main pulmonary artery and then it goes out to your various veins.
Yeah,
Electrocardiogram.
that's what EKG stood for.
Yeah, they need CPR. The tables can show both regular and irregular heart rhythms.
Put it in VFib. There we go.
With the swipe of a finger, the area of focus, in this case the heart, can be rotated, and a scalpel tool can make cuts to reveal its inner workings.
So you cut it.
Yep, and then we can see inside. I can switch it, or I can, let's do a third degree. Third degree is where basically the atria and the ventricles don't communicate at all, and they kind of just do their own thing. So one goes really fast and the other tends to go slow, and so it doesn't make any sense. It's not healthy.
It definitely tells you exactly where you need to be and what you need to work on. So especially for someone like a surgeon who should know all about the body, this can really help them out.
Look how complex it is. I mean, that's what those things are.
You're going to click like male or female, or
Roll them over.
Crohn's disease.
Oh yeah, the deterioration of the bone.
8 students can be around each table at one time, and the Anatomage table images are shared in real time on large screen monitors for even more students to see.
I think once we talk about it in the classroom, it'll be easy to apply it to what we've learned, and just being able to see that and what it does is really nice.
And on here you can see where we're going through the digestive system.
Keep turning.
Hold on.
There we go. There we go.
I'm so excited to use this, not only this year, but since I'm in healthcare administration, seeing how I can use it for the rest of my degree.
Welcome back to Newsmakers. The Science to Jobs pilot program is designed to build interest in science programs and build educational bridges with K-12 schools. Another way for Missouri Southern to help connect students with career opportunities. Joining our discussion to give us a student's perspective is MOSO CAP student Kenneth Sherrick, who is in the health sciences strand, and returning are Dr. Suzanne Hull and Dr. Sherry Whiteman. Welcome back, everybody.
Thank you.
Welcome, Kenna.
Hi.
So tell us what school you attend and why you got involved in MOSO CAPS.
So I attend Webb City High School. I'm a junior there, and I wasn't planning on doing MOSO CAPS my sophomore year when I was setting my schedule, and then the presentation came to my school, and the thing that really hooked me was I would get to go into the hospital because I'm in the health sciences program, and I would get to be in there and get all that experience. And so I quickly did 180, flipped my schedule around, and I planned to start the program the next year, and my parents were very supportive of it. They thought it was a great great opportunity for me to get that experience, and it has been so beneficial for me just to explore and find out what I actually want to go into and what I like and what I may not like so much about the healthcare field.
So what have you decided, and what did it teach you? I mean, you had some experience even in the ER.
Yeah, so I'm planning to be an emergency medicine physician. That was my plan before I started the program, and it has really just solidified that desire for me. I love being in the ER. I love all of the different cases that we get there and the fast-paced environment, and I got to see different realms of the hospital as well there, and it just showed me that how all of the different parts play together there and how interesting it is.
So what do you think of these Anatomage tables that they've just gotten in? How do you think that's going to help you when you come to go full-blown into your health career?
I think they're about the coolest things ever. I was so excited. I was asking Dr. Hull, when are we going to get to go and play with the tables? I actually think on Tuesday in my medical terminology class we get to go for the first time during my class, and I'm so excited. I really like visualizing how everything gets put together. It really does help me see why we're learning the things we're learning and how it all puts together. And I really think that it's going to make such a big difference in showing how it all goes together and just help solidify that knowledge just so you can see where it's coming from and how it all goes together there.
Excellent. Well, so doctors, let's talk about how these tables might be able to be used to spur that excitement in STEM education. I mean, because there has been a push of, why maybe even girls typically sometimes aren't interested in STEM. How can these help, do you think?
You want to go?
Sure.
So this summer at our summer academies, we will have students as young as 5th graders, exposed to the Anatomage tables. And so, for our middle school and those high school students who are going to be on our campus for those summer academies, they will have a rotation through all of the various labs on the 3rd floor of health sciences, including the Anatomage table lab.
Is hands-on something younger students need to sort of grab their attention?
Absolutely, and we find more and more that students really want hands-on learning. Even Missouri Southern is changing some of our focus to say that we want to provide immersive hands-on learning to our students because we know that that's what they like and that's what makes them do well. And so this gives us an opportunity to show them that we are committed to that and that you can use it for so many different things. One of the tools on the table actually, not only can you dissect, but you can actually simulate placing a stent, thank you, in the body. And so you get to fake practice putting a line into somebody. That's not a skill everybody gets access to.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Ken, as a student, is it better than books?
I love books, but it is always fun getting to use that hands-on learning. Like lab days were always my favorite day, and like my biology classes and just science classes all throughout my education there. And so I think it makes a big difference in connecting that knowledge that you learn from the books and the traditional lectures there and just applying it even further there.
A lot of people might get, they say, oh, gross if you see a real cadaver. Could a stair step to the cadaver as well, making it easier to be exposed to organs?
Yeah, I think so, because our class did take a trip to the cadaver lab there, and it's definitely not for everybody. It's not definitely an experience that everybody is prepared for. Yeah. It can be hard sometimes to see and smell all of those things that are there and connect to the fact that that was a living person once that did things that we're doing every day and that breathed and ate and had a family. But yeah, I think it could help connect and build up to that moment of seeing an actual cadaver, just to have the base knowledge and then work up there.
Dr. Whiteman, do you think it's also helpful that, we have a generation that has probably grown up with iPads?
Yes.
So is there an expectation for them to have this kind of technology, you think?
I think sometimes it just kind of depends on the group coming through. I think we're going to start seeing more and more of that, especially following COVID and the massive leap we took to online learning. And so there will be, some gaps to bridge between ability and actually making it function. But I think it is an expectation to a point, and it's an expectation to have the high level technological tools at the ready for the students, and so we've done that.
I mean, I've noticed that, I mean, you can rotate the body. It's like swipe up or swipe down, and you're rotating it. I mean, do you find that students, do you feel like you'll be comfortable working in this kind of technology, in this mode, because you've been on devices as a student?
Yeah, I think I'm not always the best with technology. I'm always asking people for help with like my computer and things, but I think it's easy to use. Like, it's something that we can all figure out pretty quickly. We went up during a tour to look at them and mess with them a little bit, and then tomorrow we'll get to go and play with them a little more, and I think it'll be easier to use and like show as a whole, being able to swipe up and you can actually like slice and like see a slice of like the body, and see the layers of like the skin and the organs and all of the things there, and it's really cool just to see all the different angles and things that you might not think about seeing it as.
Does anatomy class intimidate you? I mean, it always seems to me, everybody says it's like the toughest class.
Yeah, a little bit. I haven't taken an anatomy class yet. I've just had biology, medical terminology, intro to health sciences. I think a little bit. It's true that there is definitely, everybody says it's such a hard class, you know, but I'm really excited for it when I get to take one, because I just love anatomy and medicine and all that.
Excellent. Do you think there's going to be other applications for these tables that we haven't even thought of yet?
I do. I've already had a conversation with someone over in criminal justice to talk about using the table in her death investigations course. And that was an idea that only came up because someone during our MOSO Connect asked a question about using it in police work, and it sparked a light, and we said, yes, absolutely, I think that's true. And so I'm so excited about the possibilities, because they really are endless.
So, and these cadavers, even though they're virtual cadavers, they do actually, there is a donation of a cadaver, correct?
Correct.
Explain that for me.
Yeah, so these, the 5 cadavers that are on the table, they donated their body to this company, and so that's, which is amazing, and so that's how they came to be.
And you kind of have to respect that.
Absolutely,
it is a donation
that's
of
something we both
a
have
real
talked about.
person is represented
that.
in this virtual world, right?
Yeah, and so we've talked about that it is important that we share to the students that they do need to respect, you know, the technology and the person that is, you know, represented there on the table. While it may not have, you know, their actual face or anything like that, these are real cadavers who had real disease pathologies that are on these devices, and we're grateful for their donation.
So you can see that person's real physical problems, but then you can adjust them and add different complications if you wanted?
Well, you can't add complications per se, but we can see other pathologies. So there may be other images showing other things that maybe this person didn't have, but it's on some other image that's still on that table, and we can still access. Every day I go in there to show somebody something new, and I find something new. It's amazing.
Which is exciting.
Yes.
Because it means the possibilities could be endless.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for sharing all this information about it. Kenna, good luck to you. And
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
That wraps up this edition of Newsmakers. I'm Lisa Allegas. Thanks to our guests, and thank you for watching.